Hey everybody, I'm back with another video. Took a little bit of a hiatus, I guess only 1 week really in between. Tried to drop some shorts, but I was away for a business trip all of last week and I didn't get ahead of things when it came to filming. You know how it goes, you got the last minute appointments, the packing, obviously there's still work to be done, all that. So either way, we're back and I just wanted to talk today about, why I think anyways that being in sales before you get into marketing is such a good thing to do if you have the opportunity. I haven't really had the most linear career path, which I don't think is a bad thing. I've been in the space of marketing for about 8 years now, but I had a bunch of other things that I was into before. So before that, I worked in sales. That's how I got into the space, as I mentioned in my previous video. And then before that, I worked as a publisher's representative, which was basically like an email sales rep to help those who were in the field who obviously couldn't visit all of the universities that they were trying to sell into. And so I basically picked up the slack on that end. And before that, I worked at a design and development agency as a copywriter. And through school, I had two pretty regular jobs. One was as a host / wedding caterer server. And then the other was working in an office for a proper student housing property management company. I did that for about 3 years. That was how I basically paid for all of my incidentals through my time in university. And, it was a lot of work because it wasn't like, a casual, like 5 hours a week type thing. It was definitely like upwards of 40 hours plus doing school full time, plus trying to be social and all those things. But, we made it through and, it taught me a lot. And even still in those part-time jobs, there were definitely things that were transferable to even things I'm doing now. So definitely, again, wasn't a waste of time, even though people might not really see that. If you have anything like that in your life, jobs that don't have those obvious titles for that role you're trying to get into, really, really think about your transferable skills. So basically what I want to talk about today was why I think going into sales or some sort of customer-facing role in general could be good for you in marketing. And for the type of sales I was doing, I was working outbound, right? So I was making calls, I was reaching out to people on social media, I was sending a lot of emails with video content. In that specific role, my first, hardcore tech sales role was also doing video outreach. So for me, it was interesting, tailoring the messaging to highlight hopefully what could be a pain point for customers based on data, but then also, hoping to get that response and seeing how you could respond to kind of build that rapport and have that human connection, right? So at the end of the day, even though I'm reaching out to X amount of people, there's still people, right? So there's still that relationship building, still that conversation that's being had, all that kind of thing. Or you're hoping to lead to a larger conversation, right? Which hopefully leads to a deal closed. But then once I was getting on the phone with people and really starting to dig into, why they wanted to have a chat or what sort of things they were hoping to solve with our product and service offering, depending, right? So in this case, it was a product, but also a service, but I would say it was more product focused. We were focused on product-led growth, all of that. So for me, really hearing those questions and really getting into the root of those pain points or issues that people were facing, when you have so many conversations, you eventually start to realize a trend, right? So I was able to see trends in issues people were facing, also trends that in questions that we may not have been answering well on our website. So then I could go back to marketing and be like, hey, we're hearing a lot about XYZ. This might be something you want to do content on. And then obviously on the sales side, it's like, okay, we're getting a lot of these questions. Let's, kind of have a talk track around how we want to answer this. Like, how can we better support our account executives who are looking to close that deal, right? So all of that, taking in that information, just being a sponge in the conversation, really gives you the opportunity to then, glean those trends and put them in a way that makes sense for everybody involved. So questions are answered, quickly, efficiently, thoroughly, and then also you've set yourself up, if you're seeing these trends continue, you've set yourself up for hopefully success in that call. So fast forward to being in marketing and having that mindset, right? So you might not be customer facing, not every marketer is, but you do have the opportunity to get on sales calls. That's something I definitely do, get on discovery calls when you can, even if it's like once a week or once a month, depending on volume, of course, just hear what people are asking for, right? Hear those conversations, hear how those questions are being answered by the sales reps that are responsible for taking the deal through to the end, hopefully closing that, right? So listen to those conversations, be a fly on the wall, but also be a sponge. Don't be afraid to debrief after the fact either. You'll get a lot out of that. So that's the first thing. Going to calls with sales folks if you can. Second thing is making notes in those calls, right? Seeing again the trends that people and questions that people are asking, and then basically taking that information and figuring out, okay, do we have a series here for content? You know, we keep seeing things around, let's say like user experience or ease of use or adopting a product and how to get your team into that. And people are concerned about that. So how do we then position ourselves as folks who can coach you through that, have those answers, so that way there's less thinking and less doubt involved. But because you're taking it from the questions you're seeing, it's people that are hopefully in your ideal customer profile or the audience that you're targeting. And that way, once you see that trend, you can therefore use that as a means to feed the content engine. Because at the end of the day, your company website is probably the most important person on your sales team, in the sense that even when people are signed off for work from the day, you know, that website is up and running 24/7. It's your 24/7 salesperson. So it should be, you know, primed with all of that key information and, you know, ready to, I guess, put your ideal customer from a sense of curiosity and exploration to hopefully a sense of real consideration for your product, your brand, your service, whatever it is. So long story short, join conversations if you are already in a marketing role and you need new ideas for content and you want to see those trends in the market. Go to the market, go talk to those people, or at least be listening to the conversations and the questions that they're asking. So be aware of the market, be aware of your customer, and then proactively, as you sense these trends, create content that aligns with that. Create content that makes your brand that, you know, that thought leader, that knowledge base, and just answers those questions proactively for people that are in the awareness stage of buying that you want them to consider. And obviously you want them to make a decision to work with you folks on your product, service, and hopefully make their lives easier. And of course, bring revenue into your business. So if you have the chance, if you're, you know, early, think you might want to go into marketing, currently in a customer facing role, don't be afraid to use that to your advantage to get some new transferable skills. And if you're already in marketing or adjacent to marketing or somehow post sales, be in those conversations. Listen, learn, and use that to your advantage to create new content. Okay, shorter and sweeter for this week, but I'll see you folks next week. Thanks for tuning in.